Hi, welcome to ArtC. I'm your host, Bill Horin, and my guest today is Diane Rogers. Diane is an artist and the executive director of the Riverfront Renaissance Center for the Arts, which I did say properly, Diane. I got it right. So welcome to ArtC, Diane.
Thanks for having me, Bill. Yes, you did say it correctly, and we'll continue with RRCA from now on if that's best for us both, probably.
I might just say Riverfront or something like that. So it's okay.
Works.
It's a very flexible thing. So, and you've been the executive director. You're on your seventh year there. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess sixth anniversary went by, so into the seventh year. Yeah, time goes quickly. What do you know?
So, what is the best part of your job, do you think?
Well, now that we're back at exhibits, I think communicating with the artists, actually interacting with them when they come in for art drop-off. We have studio artists here too. Today we had several of them in. Dealing with the artists definitely is nice. I like that I'm entrusted with their creativity to put it out there and help them to get in front of the public. So that's an exciting part. I feel proud to do that for them.
So you mentioned that now that you're back into it, you've recently started doing live exhibits again. In fact, you may be one of the first in the area to be doing that. How was it getting back into doing live exhibits, and what was the challenge in doing that?
Well, first of all, it was very odd to not be doing that. So it gave us a little time to kind of reflect, looking at the positive side of it to say, okay, we'll get back into our monthly exhibits. We sort of rolled it out with doing what some of the artists were familiar with while we were closed, isolation art, some of the pieces that I know they were working on while they were home, kind of tell the story of the time passing. So yeah, I mean, we took into consideration the fact that we do have this large square foot facility, or I wouldn't have even thought about it. We did start in August. Luckily, both opening receptions, we had beautiful weather, so we were able to prop the doors open, keep the air circulating, and kept it to 25 people roughly at a time within the building. Most of the time, there was never that many people. People did come staggered. I didn't time people coming, but they seemed to come in little groups. So I think the most important thing was making sure people felt comfortable being here, making sure I felt comfortable, my board members and volunteers. So I think we found a way to do it a little low key compared to the past.
And I just have to compliment you on your current exhibit. I think it's an exceptional exhibit.
Isn't it? Yes, it is actually a very, very good exhibit. We're happy to have you here every September with something different, with your art, Strobe artist, signature artist. This was a really great introduction. We've been busy. So we're open now Tuesdays through Saturdays after we did have our opening. And we've had visitors, I want to say every day, specifically coming out for seeing art. So we get community people come in that happen to be around the area, but there are people seeking out a moment to be in the gallery and view this beautiful exhibit and our other exhibits currently.
I have to say, one of the things when we decided to do the Strobe exhibit at the RRCA, we weren't sure in this climate how many artists would actually want to participate. So I'm thinking in my mind, okay, if we get 20 artists, that'll be good, they'll get lots of space and I won't have to really worry about it too much. But we ended up with 38 artists. The response was incredible. And part of it is because of your facility. They do like exhibiting at the Renaissance Center. They do like the way you do your shows. So that's a kudo to you for doing that also. And we had a really much better turnout for the opening reception than I expected, to be honest with you. But I feel it went well, and I feel that it was handled well. Nobody felt threatened or uncomfortable under the conditions we're in now. So what are some of your plans coming up?
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. It was nice to have such a good response with the artists, and they were understanding that they come in as guests as well. They can't stand around in the gallery and really talk to people. It's not quite the same reception we prefer, but yeah, it was a beautiful show. Yeah, that is one bonus we have. We have the space for some larger, more impactful pieces as well. So anyway, our future plans this October, show opens on the 16th, and this will be our artist member show, our associate artist level artists. It's our second show of the year. It's kind of, it feels like time just disappeared because we had the March associate show #1, then we closed the day after third Friday in March. So here we are back already to October with that second associate artist member show. So some of my artists are literally picking up the work from March when they bring their work for October, because I didn't want anyone making a special trip if they hadn't had a moment to come in. Anyway, so that's October. We have an open call for a fun show in our WIT gallery this month, Feast Your Eyes. We find our emerging artists and some of our, working artists, a lot of, we always get a good response for our open calls, and we thought we'd make it a little light subject with the food theme. And then I'm also doing a studio artist exhibit on the Atrium wall, as currently we don't have people wandering upstairs into artist studios at this time. But I thought, let's do a little tribute for them. They're each putting in a piece of art, and they have had their photographs taken by one of our studio artists, Philip Vitale. So we'll have an image, and it'll be called Who's Up There? Because some people don't realize who's in the studios. And going from there, we have our Artful Giving show in November. So it's like a giant gift shop, we'll say. And we're finding gift shop sales have been strong, small pieces of art. People are starting to buy from the artists. So I'm hoping that goes very well. And we're going to dedicate the whole main gallery and our artist alcove to space it out a little bit. And I know a lot of artists have been working on things that a lot of shows were canceled where they do that kind of work. So hopefully we can help the artists by selling a lot for them. And then the furthest we've planned at this point is January. So in January, we have an open call. The theme is black and white. And from there, as we get into November, we're going to reassess. We'll see how things are going. But for exhibits, that's what's happening right now.
One thing I've noticed too is that the use of your atrium area, I've actually found some really good artists. Some of them are now part of Strobe exhibiting in your atrium, including the last one we got, which was Sydney Smith Jordan. How do you find those artists? What makes you decide who goes in your atrium?
Well, it depends. Sometimes you're right, it's a spot for like a unique solo show or sometimes a small group show. I want to call that our flexible space because, as you know, it's hard to make plans all the time. We plan exhibit schedules as we can, but you always find artists along the way that you didn't know about, or somebody will stop in and show us some of their work and you think, let's introduce you to the public here. And it is a great space. It's actually 25 feet of gallery room right there. And of course, everyone sees that space. So it's a really nice option for new artists or something unique and different. So it's flexible. So sometimes I panic a little thinking, wonder if I'll have anything there. So it always works out.
So what do you do, for example, if an artist wanders in, someone you may not know, and said, hey, I think I should be in your exhibit or in your show or in your gallery? And how do you decide who's qualified? I mean, how would you tell them, for example, well, no, you're not quite ready for us? That's got to be a little bit of a challenge too.
Yeah, I mean, again, we are a community art center as a nonprofit, so we're very welcoming. And part of the welcoming is giving advice as best we can. I mean, a lot of the artists in normal circumstance mentor other artists, or they learn from each other as they go around and look at art. I'll point out things like, say, if they don't know how to make their work gallery ready, I'll find an example in the space here and show them how that's done. We do have some workshops too. Sometimes we'll suggest like some workshops, or they'll show a couple of pieces and you see one that's stronger than another. You encourage that. Say, hey, this one's a little more successful. Why don't you keep working on this style, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I look at it as there's anyone who's creating something, there's some worthwhile spark in there somewhere. So we try to guide them as best we can. And we do have, of course, artist memberships. So we have 2 levels of that. So our affiliate artists is, it's a mixture of artists. It's sometimes emerging artists, sometimes artists who would consider themselves part-time or hobby artists, I guess you could say, where they want to be involved, they want to support us through that membership. But that's a good step in. And we have an exhibition committee that will look at the art and give advice too.
So one of our goals as Strobe and ArtC has been to promote and shine a light, as you know, on the arts and artists of South Jersey. And as a South Jersey organization, what do you think can be done to get more recognition for the arts in South Jersey? I mean, it seems a little bit, we've talked about this before, that we are slightly ignored by some of the North Jersey and state organizations when it comes to that. How do you see that moving forward and improving in the future?
That's always a tough one because I always say we're stuck in our buildings, we're stuck in our locations, and I think that's everywhere. But yeah, to get more recognition or acknowledgement for what we're doing, we communicate a lot, with all those organizations. But I don't know, it's always a challenge. I think a lot of the virtual stuff we did and the fact that we've reopened all of a sudden put us a little more into our organization, for example, into the eyes of more north because there were ways to share it easier. It's hard for people to come all the way down here for our openings. I understand that. And just like vice versa, I don't often myself make it up to North Jersey things. So it's a very diverse state. So it does have its challenges in that way. But I mean, collaborations with other arts organizations could be a means to do that, but I think we all just kind of need to brainstorm once in a while to get some ideas to make that better, but I don't have a on the top of my head solution for it, really.
So what do you see for the future of the arts? I know visual artists, for example, I mean, one thing you mentioned was selling art for visual artists, and it's been a challenge even before the pandemic, before all this happened. A lot of galleries have actually closed. A lot of artists are looking for ways to promote their work. Do you see any future, do you see in the future that becoming better, or do you think we got to come up with other options?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to measure that right now or where the trend is going. As I said, we've seen small purchases of artful things, but, investing in good quality, more substantial art pieces, I don't know. Yeah, it's always been a challenge. I mean, located in South Jersey here where we are, the art market and the buyers, there's a smaller portion of those. That's on my mind all the time because I know the artists enjoy being able to show their work, but art sales would be very, very helpful. So I'm looking at down the road, possibly, I've talked about this in the past, but with a little more time on our hands here to think of things, things such as, I don't know, contacting corporations and I mean, like Atlanticare Healing Arts Program, they're fantastic for buying art, but there's got to be other hospital systems, corporations, things like that that could invest in art. So maybe it's a really good time to push that a little more just to get things rolling. But yeah, I don't know. It's very unpredictable.
It's funny you should mention pushing art into corporations and businesses. As you know, that's something we're going after and going to be pushing for. So, and as one of our advisory board members, your input will always be valued for that. Well, we've had quite a few brainstorms in the past, and one of the things that you actually triggered in my mind was finding ways to help artists, support or pay for their shows before they actually do them. People don't realize it costs a lot of money for an artist between framing and transportation and art supplies just to put a show together. And sometimes, especially now, it's not easy for them to afford that. So that's something you and I will be talking about in the future too, is how we can do more of that to help the artist actually get their stuff ready to do a show and be able to do shows.
That was something that we had done a couple of times with artists and in a very small way, but it was very necessary to help them out. And so of course it puts that in your head that how could we fund something like that? Because yeah, you're right. It costs a lot of money to show the work and forget selling it. Just that investment is tough for a lot of people. So yeah, that's something we want to get rolling. So we'll talk more.
Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I don't know. I'm just real happy that we are back and, you know, feel good about the reception we had with the public, knowing we're open again. People are very happy about it. We are going to start putting together some more adult virtual workshops. We've got a kids one coming. So we're trying to get the other good chunk of our programming out there besides exhibits is education and community projects. So we're doing something for seniors right now. So we've got some funding that helps us with those things. So we definitely just keep checking our website. We keep adding things, and hopefully we'll just keep on rolling on.
Well, I know there's a lot of artists and a lot of people out there who appreciate art that are glad you're back also. So Diane, I want to thank you for being here today. This has been ArtC. I'm Bill Horin. Thanks for watching.